Hi there, I'm Grace McNab. I teach music theory at Capilano University. I'd like to share some of my ideas about that subject with you, and particularly musical form and ways in which we can enrich our study of that and keep the music very much in music theory. Okay, hi everybody. Today, as a way of putting the music back into music analysis, we're going to have a little bit of an experience. I'm calling it the even-handed tendency of musical nature. And when I say even-handed, we'll find that a lot of things in classical music and other styles tend to have a certain kind of justice where they do things on the one hand and on the other hand. And to help with this today, I'm going to organize my audience into a kind of an even-handed orchestra. And the orchestra will be made of these musical role players. So anyone who's feeling pretty strong about making a kind of a statement today is going to be in the dark green, forest green section. So I'm going to just throw out here some green gloves to the forest section, and on the other side, in response to what is being heard, there will be the lime green responding section. And I see a gentleman over here waiting to be responsive today. As we proceed, as soon as we've had a statement and a response, a lot of times music, especially classical music, has a kind of a discursive quality where it starts to debate and argue about the things that have just been said. So anyone who's feeling argumentative today is going to be part of the delvers, the yellow section, and they're not mellow yellow, they are diggers. They're going to take apart the things we've heard from the statement and response and maybe repeat them, cut them off, use the head or the tail. And so I'm handing to the center section the sort of argumentative section or debating section, the yellows. So as we continue through here, we'll see so far we have our statement team. Over here we have our response team, quick response, and we have our debating team in the middle. And last but not least, this one is very special. This is the verdict team. That sounds a bit threatening, so maybe we should say the summation team or the consolidation team, maybe the peacemakers. And what's really interesting about this is you are really kind of two in one. Often you only take as long to do your verdict as the person who made the statement or the person who did the response, but you encapsulate everything that's been happening so far. So in a certain way you're loaded. And to reflect this loading, won't be able to see this up close, but there actually is a miniature of the entire structure on the blue gloves, namely green, green, yellow, yellow, blue, within the blue glove itself. Okay, so if you are feeling very old and wise, or young and wise, and you'd like to summate or consolidate what's been said before, you are the blue team. And to make things a little easier to relate, so I don't have to run out there, I have my miniatures here, and for the most part, I will be providing statements and responses myself, and then my debating team and my closing section is in front of me here. So, just to illustrate this with a little bit of some music that you might recognize. And Beethoven is fond of double debates, so you'll notice that both of the argumentative sides of the orchestra are arguing with themselves. And the blue summations. So that's probably the first and most famous example of what I'm going to be calling long, long, short, short, long. So here we go. And if I were speaking in the evening, I would say, tonight, tonight, won't be just any night. But of course, it's today. And notice that not just the small parts of songs, like the very first phrase that's articulated, but sometimes the entire song, as in an A, A form, will take on this idea of a long, and then a discursive short, short, and a long. So this is something that happens on the smallest time scale, like an acorn, and then on the symphonic time scale as well. So here we go. Tangos. Bum, 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 bum. Da 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 dee dum. Bum, 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 bum. Ba da 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 da. Bum, bum. Bum, bum. I'm a terrible dancer, so don't look at that step. It's actually true that the tango step is sometimes can be an 8-count step with a long, long, and a short, short, and then the final slide, which is kind of infinitely long in a certain way. And here we go. Take a little look at the tango. Just as a little bit of an amusement factor, today I'll be sometimes playing a miniature tango, so a miniature piano. So maybe just kind of remember that rhythm for today. Etc. Okay, moving right along here. Sometimes you can actually hear this rhythm expressed just in words, and it usually happens in a situation involving persistence. And in fact, in this particular very famous motto, we have, here's a motto you should heed, try, try again. And the try, try again, which is so important in music, in rousing closing sections, in development sections, represents the argument and the conclusion. So as we keep going with these different little phrases, you'll notice they all share this same rhythm. If at first you don't succeed, try, try again. And the trying in music is often things like a circle of fifths or a modulation or something that's kind of interesting. I think probably time to hear another example. This time we'll take something bigger and more full-blown. How about Tchaikovsky at this point? Okay, so here is the statement in a well-known theme. That's the statement. Response. Get ready for the argument. And then the other part of the argument. And the whys, 7 diminished 7 of 7, half diminished 7 of 5 for those theory lovers. We'll just do the try, try, and succeed part one more time, because often that's repeated. Blue, wise and old, bringing back the opening melody with a wiser harmonization. I stuck that part in on my own. That doesn't really happen. Okay, so there's an example of Tchaikovsky stating something, responding to it, making two efforts in different, what we call almost like modulations to different keys, and then finally summating. Okay, the very short little motto of yes, no, maybe so. So much like a lot of pieces in music. Yes. No. Now, this is a really long maybe so. That's the same two things these guys just said, but faster. And does it again. The summation people actually get in the act with actually quickening the rhythm. And interestingly, they were alternating sort of double time with the very same things that were argued about at the beginning. So it's an important thing to notice is that the people in the concluding area sometimes come back and do a miniature version of the whole, as if they've sort of almost brought the oak back to the acorn. Okay, and probably a favorite one in terms of arguments. If you can all picture ice skates, I wish I was wearing ice skates now, but you have statement people. You say tomato, and I say potato. You say, I got that wrong. Try again. You say tomato, and I say tomato. You say potato, and I say potato. Tomato, tomato, potato, potato. Let's call the whole thing off. And the beauty of that song is we can hear the statement, response, argument, and cadence over the entire song. So this is the first time I'm going to get you to actually sing with me in sections. We're going to do the entire song. Okay, so statement people, you get the entire first phrase we just heard. You say tomato, and I say tomato. You say potato, and I say potato. Tomato, tomato, potato, potato. Let's call the whole thing off. And the response is again, you say tomato. Oh no, you say pajama, and I say pajama. You say Obama, and I say Obama. Pajama, pajama, Obama, Obama. Let's call the whole thing off. And the debaters, but oh, if we call the whole thing off, then we must part. And the other side of it, and oh, if we have to part, then that would break my heart. And the blues go, you say banana, and I say banana. You say a drama, and I say a drama. But for we know we need each other, so let's call the calling off off. Let's call the whole thing off. I don't know if I had the right words, but did you notice at the very end, the blues actually debated within themselves in a miniature way what a lot of things that happened in the song. So that's a kind of a wonderful example of multiple levels over an AABA tune in which each phrase has our long, long, short, short, long rhythm. Okay, moving right along. There's old examples. This shows how old I am, but you know what goes up must come down. And then you have spinning wheel, spinning around. Often our language fits this pattern. We say a noun and an adjective, and that's two even things. A spinning wheel, and then we do the action in the discursive section, spinning around. That's a good example of triplets as well. So sometimes you'll hear a piece that will actually do this pattern in 3 time. Bottom, bada, dee da 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 dum, bottom, bada, dee da da bottom, dee da da bottom, bum bum, bada dum. So Beethoven is very fond of this, especially he and Mozart and Haydn love to nest the smaller versions in triple and duple meter of this structure in each other all the way through their pieces. There's some other famous calls, I suppose, attention-getting calls. Stop. Hey, what's that sound? Let's just listen to all these examples. Everybody, look what's going. Action again, down. Attention getting. Hey there, who? Georgie, girl. I guess you'd say, what can make me feel this way? There's a lot of famous examples. I'm just going to flip these quickly and you can imagine them yourselves because we don't have time to go through all of them. This is a good one. Rolling, rolling. Rolling on the river, all the way through. My mother's famous song, her favorite, she always wanted me to play for her. The answer, my friend, action, blowing in the wind. Again. Okay, so I'll just go quickly through these and see which ones you recognize. A little bit of politer version of the protest from the 60s. Another bit of thing that dates my age. And finally, perfect example right there. Okay, you may have kind of noticed at sports games, people tend to clap. And when they get really excited about the game, they even layer another version of this same structure. So you can actually hear at a large and a small level, you can hear long, long, short, short, long. But against that, there's a kind of a faster counterpoint where you can hear long, long, short, short, long, ba, 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 ba. And it's interesting, there's that gap right there where things could really be going infinitely fast. So there's a little bit of a way in which this can just look like acceleration, like slow, slow, quick, quick, so quick, quick, and it has a sort of an infinite acceleration as well as a slowdown. So it's a really subtle pattern, and it has a lot of contradictions in it. You can imagine if you were a composer of a symphony and you reached your exposition, took this much, and your development section happened here, you could sort of stretch it out into an infinitely digressive and discursive series of wave-like phrases, no more balanced statement and response, but just almost like a ball that got bouncing and sort of kept on subdividing. Here's Beethoven's Fifth, looking like sort of a bizarre game of checkers. I'm going to play it again, just so that people who would like to kind of remember that famous theme and how it counts its way through can notice that it in fact does this pattern, and also that the famous dramatic chord at the end is unlike anything we've heard before. The color coding, the statement is what we call the one chord. So you people are sort of the home chord or the tonic chord. Over here, you people are the dominant chord or the sort of polar opposite in some way. And as you can see, this whole piece is an argument between the white tonic checkers and the red dominant checkers until we have a sort of a game changer at the end. So let's listen to Beethoven again. Response. Alternation. Game changer. And that, of course, is just the first theme. If we went on, we would find this kind of structure happening again and again, but often getting very carried away during the fragmentation section so that the phrases can stretch and grow and become something quite different. Okay, I think we'll end this first bit of our session with a limerick, and it's going to be directed towards a certain quite famous member of the audience, a well-known conductor. And we're going to get into the rhythm here, and we're going to say to this gentleman that there was a conductor from Cap who never would take a nap. He worked very hard with no thought for reward. And what did we say about him at the end? But when he performed, they would